Hello, John. How are you?
I'm great. How are you?
Good. John, welcome to Emmanuel in a sense, and thank you for being willing to record this alpha interview per se. Why don't you introduce yourself first of all, and maybe introduce how you end up becoming part of an alpha group at Emmanuel
Yeah.
through Emmanuel.
So I am John Renzo Biera. I am 23 years old. Um I got introduced into Alpha because of Sarah Armstrong. I was dating her daughter, and so I was very close with the Armstrong family. And so the Armstrong family became a second home to me. And so it was my very last weekend visiting them, just because I decided to take a pause on paramedic school. And so one of the last things I wanted to do was actually go to church with Sarah. And so I was leaving the Sunday and she brought me to church with her. And so I can vividly recall like being in church. And so the first worship song, I started tearing up as I was singing along, and that it felt like I was meant to be there for a reason, and it just seemed so right. And I don't know how to describe that feeling, but it genuinely felt like I was supposed to be there. And I looked over at Sarah, and like we both smiled at each other, and that was great. And so I sat through that whole service, and I believe I saw an alpha testimony before that service actually started, which was really cool. And so after the service ended, I went to the washroom, came back, and you, Pastor Sean, actually came up to me out of like the whole crowd. I've never had that happen to me before. You came up to me, introduced yourself, and said like, "Hey, you're a new face. Like I haven't seen you before." And like I've never had a pastor come up to me and introduce himself as you did, and that was a really nice feeling. And so when I got back in the car with Sarah, she was talking about the Alpha course, and she said that she did that way back ago, and that's what kind of helped her be who she is today, and that I would probably benefit from that. And so I was still on the iffy side. I wasn't sure if that was something I wanted to do. And so I kind of kept it in the back of my mind. And then all of a sudden, I was like, you know what? I'm going to give it a shot. Like, I'm going to listen to Sarah. And then she gave me the information and like I signed up. And then next thing you know, I was in the Alpha course with Gene Aston. And it was pretty great.
Very cool. Yeah, I think that was the second online alpha course that we had done. I
Yeah,
remember, yeah, meeting you at church that day and talking to you. And pretty small alpha group. There's only a couple of you I know in the group,
exactly.
but you really enjoyed it. What would you say you learned in the alpha course?
So it was actually really cool. The way it was broken down, Jean asked on the very first day, she explained that it was going to be around an 11-week program. We were going to do the first 6 or so weeks before Christmas, and then we would get back together around mid-January, like somewhere after that, and we would do the remaining weeks after that. And so there were a few topics that we went over. So who is Jesus? Why did Jesus die? How can I have faith? Why and how I pray, why and how I should read the Bible, and so forth. There's a ton of different lessons and topics that we go through. And so that's what we learned and went through. But what I found really great is that since I was someone that wasn't 100% about my beliefs, I knew that I believed in God, the Son, and the Holy Spirit, but I never once felt judged or um, excluded from the group, or I always felt welcomed when I was in Alpha. Jean answered every single question that I had and like never judged me for the way I thought. She welcomed every question and actually like what's the right way to say it? Like she told us to ask as many questions as we could because that's what got the conversation going. And having the conversation going means you're learning more and you're questioning your beliefs, but also making your beliefs stronger in a way. And so Jane was honestly the perfect teacher to have for that. And she always helped me feel so warm and welcome. And she became honestly like another mom to me, I guess. And it was cool. She welcomed me and she always wanted to know how I was doing and always wanted to find a way to pray for me and help me become loved and learn more about the God that we believe in. And so that was a really nice feeling. I really enjoyed that about Alpha, just because it helped me reaffirm my beliefs and also strengthen it. So yeah,
Very
it
good.
was
Huh?
awesome.
We're gonna have to give Jean a raise, boy. Double her pay, which is currently nothing. Love you,
She's
Jean.
killing it. She is honestly killing it. That like
Yes, she
Alpha
is
with Jean
great.
was amazing. It was something I always looked forward to. Like Tuesdays were always the best day just because I knew I was going to see her
Yeah,
and the group.
good. Yeah, and that's important because I know some people may be a little bit leery about joining an alpha, what the alpha experience may be like, but it is truly an amazing place to grow in relationship with other people. That's one of our big goals in it. So that's awesome. Good. So how did it grow? You kind of touched on this a little bit already, but how did it help you where you were at spiritually and kind of take you to the next place you needed to be
Yeah.
spiritually?
Yeah. So when I started Alpha, I was truthfully at like a bit of a crossroad in my life where I moved to a new place and had new roommates I didn't know. I dropped out of the program that I was in, and I was genuinely just lost in life. I did not know what was coming next. I didn't know if my job was gonna like end soon. I honestly did not know what was coming next. And that was the scariest thing for me. And so it helped me reaffirm my beliefs, like I said, but it also helped me realize that I just have to trust in God's plan for me. And so when I learned to trust that and like lead, like not, how do I say it? I just trusted his plan and decided to do what's best or like just be myself and just listen and like keep my eyes and ears open to whatever he might be telling me to do. And then that led me to where I am today. And I honestly had one of the best terms with the roommates that I lived with. And I learned and grew as an individual. And it became one of the best few months of my life, which I would have never have ever expected unless I trusted in his plan. And so that was really cool. And learning that even though I felt alone, I was never actually alone, if that makes sense.
Yeah, yeah,
And that
absolutely.
was that helped me grow tremendously spiritually.
Yeah, very good. Awesome. Very good. And so what would you say to anybody who's thinking about going to Alpha? How would you recommend it to someone or help someone make that decision? What would you say to them?
Honestly, I would say to give it a shot. I would just say give it a shot, trust your gut. And if there's any part of you that feels like you want to try it, listen to that part of you. There might be doubt, there might be whatever else you might be feeling. But if there's that little bit of you that thinks that it might be right for you, listen to that part because I did and it changed so much for me. And that I think will happen to anyone that has that same exact thought. And so I think it's always worth it. And like if you end up with Gene Aston, you will do phenomenal.
Oh, wow. She's going to be doing it online on Tuesday nights, but everybody else is going to end up with me.
Honestly, that'd be great too. I
Oh,
would I would join that.
no, absolutely. Awesome. Okay. Well, thank you for sharing. Appreciate you taking the time to do that. That's
No
awesome. That's
problem.
cool.